Joann?
You know. Hey Beans, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own pajama pants. And not only that, but also kind of giving you basic knowledge on how to sew. So if you've been wanting to learn a new hobby or you want to learn how to sew, hopefully this video can be just a little bit informative when it comes to that. And I thought, why not make pajama pants? Because not only are they easy to make, but also for basic levels, especially beginners to sewing, this is probably the perfect project for anyone that wants to start making their own clothing, or for those that are into cosplay and they want to start making their own costumes. Hopefully, you guys will learn something new today. Without further ado, let's get started. I want it just for that reason.
Catacado.
It just makes sense. And it does feel good though, too. It's warm. These are the materials that you will be needing. You can find a majority of these at your local stores or online. To start off with, I'm going to be winding up the bobbin, and for most brother machines, they usually have this at the top. Next, I'm going to be folding my fabric. I got 1.5 yards of fabric for my size. I am a size small to medium in women's, so this is enough fabric for me personally, but for everybody else, make sure you take your measurements wisely, and when you do go to the store or wherever you do find your fabric from, make sure it's enough fabric for you. I'm going to be facing the fabrics both together, but with the right sides facing each other. You can tell the difference because usually the right sides look a lot more nicer, whereas the inside is usually a little more rough or it's a different type of knitting. So I'm going to be taking my Sharpie. You could also use a white pencil or whatever it is that you choose. And I'm going to mark it with dots. Me, usually I don't need to use a measuring tape, but if you have to use a measure tape, add on about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, just to be on the safe side to make sure that it fits you correctly. An important note to take when it comes to pattern drafting or placing the pattern on the fabric: make sure you read the directions carefully. If you are doing it hands-free like I am, in this case, I'm going to be cutting 2 pairs of the legs, and they're both going to be on the fold. Not only is it easier because we don't have all the extra seams, but also all the extra steps. Depending on what you make when it comes to clothing or attire, each thing can be different, as well as the progress of making the outfit or the garment. Now we're going to thread the machine. This is how you thread this type of machine, but every machine is made differently, whether it be from Brother or Simplicity. Just know that there's always going to be an instruction manual on how to thread it properly, but in this case, I'm going to be showing you how I thread my machine. If you see the little dial, I keep it at the number 5 because that is the tightest stitch that I can go. But if you want it to be tighter, just know that you can always arrange that little dial that's right there in the middle, as well as the bigger dial for the different stitches that you would like. Be careful when stitching though, because the needle is sharp. So if you need a thumbnail, or if you just need a little bit of extra protection, use some tweezers because it is a little bit easier. Super, super important, always put the foot down when you're not using the machine for safety reasons. Both of your pant legs should look like this. When pinning, you want to pin it facing you, just because it's going to be easier when you're sewing. And when you do start to sew, you want to sew at the seam at least between 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Time for my favorite part, the fitting. So this is the first fitting. You should always do a first fitting when it comes to making clothes, just so you can double check and make sure that it is your size. Some cases you can cut a little bit smaller, so you'd have to restart, but in most cases people always cut more than what they should. So we're going to press the fabric a little bit with our iron. Please be very careful, irons are very hot and your safety is the most important thing in the world. Thank you. So I'm going to be pressing the seam just to make it look a little bit flatter. Normally we would overlock this, but because I don't have an overlock machine, I'm just going to improvise. It should look like this. Next, we're going to add our pants together. Now, it's the same thing. You want both of the seams to be together, kind of like what we did earlier with the fabric when you want right sides up. It's the same thing, but in this case, you want to match the seams together to make sure that they're both facing the correct way as well as they are aligned. So I just pinned the middle of it. We're going to call it the U shape, and it should look like this after you're done pinning. You're going to sew that at 1/2 inch. Now it's time to add our waistband. I forgot to record this part, so I'm sorry, but this is how we do it. So what I did was I folded it at 1/4, pressed it, and then I folded it in half and sewed it at 1/2 inch. And now we're going to add our waistband. Remember to have 2 safety pins just in case if you lose one. So we're going to attach the safety pin, and then we're going to take our waistband and don't cut it because you want to save as much material as you can. We're going to have it intact and just put it around the waistband to the desired fit. Now, this fits me perfectly, and this is why I said don't cut your waistband. Also, keep in mind that you want to also hem the bottom of your pants, but this is going to be a little bit different. You're going to be doing 1/4 press, 1/4 press, and then you're going to pin, and you're going to be sewing at 3/8. And now I'm just going to add a little tag to know the difference between the front and the back. You can choose whatever ribbon you'd like. I just chose this gold one that I found randomly. Ta-da! We done! I love them. They're super comfy, super warm, and I'm obsessed with the fabric that I chose. And I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new. If you did end up making your own pajama pants, please share them with me on my social medias. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!